federal judge has temporarily blocked a new pro-life law in Kentucky, which led the state's 2 remaining abortion clinics to halt the horrific killings happening there. House Bill 3 limits abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy and requires women to be examined by a doctor before receiving chemical abortion pills. Both abortion clinics in Kentucky have now resumed their life-taking business. Kentucky's Republican Attorney General Daniel Cameron commented on the court's decision and said he is ready to defend the law as litigation continues. Joining us now is the initial sponsor of the law in the Kentucky legislature, State Representative Nancy Tate. Representative Tate, thanks for joining us. What's your reaction to this law being blocked?
So thank you very much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. You know, the intent of the bill, if we go back and look at that, some people have basically said that our intentions were to stop abortions in Kentucky with this bill, and that's exactly contrary to the truth. What we did in 2019 was enact the heartbeat bill, which obviously is still under litigation. But the intent of this bill is, just as it's called humanity and healthcare, is as long as abortions are legal in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, is for them to be conducted as safely as possible. And obviously that's kind of ironic that we say that, considering that this is the only health care where 50% of the patients actually die during the procedure. But we just wanted to make sure that, especially with the chemical abortion piece, that the abortions are conducted, again, as safely as possible.
And what are the specifics of the law? We know that it limits abortion at 15 weeks. How does it affect abortion businesses?
Yeah, so right now in the Commonwealth, abortions are legal up to 20 weeks. But our estimations are that when this bill is enacted and actually becomes law, that potentially we can save as many as 300 lives, potentially, I think, and that's on a monthly basis. Right now, approximately 4,000 abortions are conducted annually in the Commonwealth.
And the judge blocked this law because Planned Parenthood and the ACLU filed lawsuits demanding that he do so. This is a trend everywhere that you see new pro-life laws being advanced, that Planned Parenthood and the pro-abortion industry is opposing them. Does anyone else ever challenge these pro-life laws besides these pro-abortion activists?
No, not to my knowledge. And you're right, it is a trend. And from my perspective, there was very little need for them to actually stop their procedures. To me, it was just sensationalizing in advance prior to the Supreme Court decision of Dobbs that we anticipate in June.
And Kentucky, we know, is a pretty strongly pro-life state. There are just 2 abortion businesses left, and that speaks to that. Can you speak to how advancing life-affirming laws on the state level over a period of time can result in a real decrease in abortion and a culture that respects life?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Kentucky, we are a very pro-life state. And actually, if you look at the composition of the General Assembly, that speaks for itself. You know, we've got 30 of our 38 senators are Republicans and basically are very strong pro-life senators. And then in the House, we've got 75 of the 100 members are very pro-life. And so, you know, some people say, well, did you actually pass this law, or you're passing these laws because of it being opportunistic? And the answer is, which came first, the opportunity or the composition of the General Assembly? And I like to say that we have the most pro-life General Assembly in the history of the Commonwealth. And our laws, the ones that we're passing, basically demonstrate that.
Well, we're thankful that you are passing laws that represent the people of your state. State Representative Nancy Tate of Kentucky, thank you.
Thank you.
And joining us now for further analysis is Tessa Longbonds of the Charlotte Lozier Institute. Tessa, thanks for joining me. Talk to me about abortion rates in Kentucky and how this law might have affected what's going on there.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Prudence. And certainly Kentucky is a pro-life state, already has other pro-life laws on the books that keep the abortion rate low, but this law can lower the abortion rate further. It limits abortion at 15 weeks, and we know that there are hundreds of abortions after 15 weeks in Kentucky every year. So certainly the opportunity here to save lives. And in fact, after the law went into effect, the abortion industry was unable to comply with some of the regulations in the law, and so abortion stopped in Kentucky. And so certainly the opportunity to lower Kentucky's abortion rate even further and save lives.
That's very clear. And Planned Parenthood advocates are complaining that this new law will limit women, especially poor women, from obtaining abortions in the state of Kentucky. Talk to me about how abortion actually impacts poor women.
We often hear the argument that women need abortion, but actually that's not true. In fact, our research at the Charlotte Lozier Institute shows that abortion doesn't solve women's problems, it just leads to more abortion, doesn't change their life circumstances. And actually, the law puts in place safety protections on chemical abortion and improves informed consent for women. So it's actually protecting women. Chemical abortion is dangerous. It has a complication rate 4 times that of surgical abortion, an increase in emergency room visits of 500% over the past couple of decades. And so Kentucky's law protects women, and it's the abortion industry that doesn't want to follow these safety protections for women.
It's very important research. And talk to me about the state of play in Kentucky. I know that they have an amazing pro-life attorney general in Daniel Cameron. They have a strong pro-life legislature, but a very extreme pro-abortion governor.
Yes, so it's an interesting situation, a pro-life state with a pro-abortion governor, and actually the governor vetoed this pro-life law, but the legislature was able to override the veto. So Kentucky is pro-life, the people in Kentucky want these pro-life laws, and so we're hopeful that the Supreme Court in the upcoming Dobbs case will give the people of Kentucky and other states more ability to pass their own laws on abortion.
And SBA List has been talking a lot about the fact that states all over the country are introducing programs that serve as alternatives to abortion. States like Texas and other pro-life states that are passing strong pro-life laws. Talk to me about that, and do you think that could happen in Kentucky soon?
Yes, so there are over a dozen states that have put in place these alternatives to abortion programs, offering women other options, other choices, and support. You mentioned Texas. They have $100 million in their budget for their program that provides parents with services like material support, referrals, counseling, mentoring, all of these different options that can give women real choices. And states can create their own programs, tailor them to the specific needs of the state and the unique environment of the state. And so certainly that's something that Kentucky and other pro-life states can explore and put into place.
Yes, and you touched on something that I want to go back to very briefly, chemical abortion and how dangerous it is. You know, with more brick and mortar facilities closing down, like these ones in Kentucky, hopefully if this law is reinstated, abortions will stop there on the ground. How is the abortion industry going to use chemical abortion to continue their agenda?
So the abortion industry, chemical abortion has been a strategy of theirs from the beginning, but they've been increasingly pivoting toward it as there's been this pro-life momentum. They've already gotten chemical abortion available through the mail, pushed back against Food and Drug Administration safeguards, so it's now available through the mail, online, and so that's why states like Kentucky are stepping up and making sure that these dangerous mail-order abortions aren't happening and that these protections are being maintained for women.
Well, we certainly hope that this law will be allowed to stand. Tessa Longbonds of the Charlotte Lozier Institute, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.